it's Miss Laura with the Wichita Falls Arts Council, and today we're going to make a flower pop-up card that you can use for anything of your choosing. Maybe a birthday is coming up or a holiday. So what you do with the card is up to you. It's all going to have the same element, this little flower part that folds flat when you close the card and then opens up when you open up the card into a nice three-dimensional form. You can add things like a stem. I've added a little dog nose and a bee to mine. And we just need a few things to make this card. First is a sheet of white cardstock, folded in half, hamburger style. You can do that now, later. Pretty simple step, but I'm going to put this off to the side. We're going to need 3 pieces of origami paper, which we're using because it's thinner than regular paper, and when we fold it and cut it and stack it and glue it, it won't be too bulky inside of our card. It's nice and thin. I'm using a pair of scissors to do some cutting today, a pencil to draw a line to cut, and then a glue stick to glue everything together at the end. Okay, so we're going to go step by step. You can choose to fold all 3 of these papers at once. Or you can finish folding one, memorize the steps, and then fold the next one, and then fold the next one. But they're all folded the same way. Your paper probably has 2 red sides, which will look nicer when you glue everything together. Mine has a white side and a red side, so I'm going to be telling you certain things about which side the paper needs to be on when we're folding so that everything works. Okay. So I'm going to fold all 3 of mine at once, I think. So I'm going to start with one paper. And I'm folding it in half into a rectangle. And of course, yours will be red on both sides. So the outside, this part here, it'll look like a red rectangle. I might as well do that with the rest. 3 rectangles. I like to use the table when I'm folding. It kind of acts like another hand. Second one, third one. And using my fingers up at the top to keep everything lined up. And then using my thumbs to go in and get that a nice good crease. We want to make sure we do a good job of folding and actually creasing our paper. We don't want a lackluster fold, because these crease lines will come into play. Okay, once you have 3 rectangles, you are going to open each of them up. Start by opening one, and it should kind of look like a taco shell, right, where we have these 2 flaps up top, and this fold line touching the table. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this out. Again, these flaps should be able to do this. That's how you know it's on the right side. And then I'm going to fold this in half after turning it into a rectangle again, but this time in the opposite direction. So I want 1 vertical line, 1 horizontal line. It should look like a plus sign when I unfold it. So I fold in half one way, fold in half the other way. Do this with all of them. So go ahead and open it up. Should look like a little bit like a taco shell. Turning it, folding in half the other way to create that plus sign. Okay, once we've done that with all 3 of our papers, we're going to flip all of them over so that they all become like little tents. And what I mean by that is that they have 2 sides that are down. The middle is sort of popped up, kind of like a tent. A little campground of origami paper. And this is how we know that our paper is flipped to the right side, because they're all like little tents. Once we have our paper in on the tent side, we're going to go ahead and flatten them as they are, and then fold in half into a rectangle. Not a rectangle, folding in half into a triangle. Dun, 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 dun. Diagonal into a triangle. Okay. I'm going to do that with all of them, starting as a tent, and then folding in half into a triangle. And then folding half into a triangle. Three triangles. Okay. Next step, we'll start with one, is to take this triangle, open it up back to a square, and then flip it over so that I have a triangle tent, where this middle diagonal line going through my square is popped up. It's away from the table. And these two extra flaps are touching the table. I'm going to take my finger and press down in the very center of my paper until my finger touches the table. And that's going to make these two little sides pop up. It's going to be pretty subtle. One more time, going to press in the center until these two little sides pop up. Once I'm at this point, I have 4 corners of my square. I want them all to meet at the top. I want all of these 4 corners to touch each other. I like to start with these corners that have this diagonal fold in them. And I like to push them together. And then hold them at the top. I'm just holding them together. And then I have these 2 extra corners at the top and bottom here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab those and put them with those 2 other corners. So all 4 corners are up at the top, and I've made this little square. And I'm just letting the paper, fold the way that it wants to, because paper has a memory. We've already made those folds. Now we're just letting the paper do what it wants to do, while having all the little corners meet up at the top. Okay, so doing the same with the next ones. Making it a little triangle tent, pressing in the center until the 2 ends pop up. Then taking the corners with the diagonal line in them, pushing them together. There's 2 corners met at the top. I need to grab the other corners. They also need to come to the top. And then I have a square. There's 2. And then number 3, triangle tent, push down the middle, sides pop up. Gather all the corners so they meet at the top. So I have 3 pieces of paper. I need to cut some petals into these, and I want to make sure that I'm cutting on the right side. So we're going to identify the top of our paper, and we're going to do that by examining one. There is one side that has a single paper flap that you can fold down. This one does not have a single flap. It's sort of a double. This side does. There's one little single paper sheet that you can fold down, and I'm just going to fold down a tiny little corner so I know where the top is. This one, 2, and this one is completely together. You can't fold anything down. So this is the top right here, where you can fold a little tiny single sheet down. And do that with all of them. It's the open side that is our top, because if we cut the wrong side, our piece might fall apart when we cut it. Okay, we're going to draw some flower petals going across the top of one of them, and then we're going to cut that out and then trace it onto these 2. That way we don't have to draw flower petals more than once. It's going to end up looking something like this. So we're going to turn this into this. So I'm going to use my pencil now. I only have to draw petals once. Okay, so this is my top, so that means I'm drawing petals going across from left to right. I can start by drawing a little arch first to know where I want my petals to end. Again, here's my top, left, right, little arch going across, kind of like a big pizza slice. I like to do a petal in the middle You could have fewer petals, you could have more petals than me. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. One petal. 2. You do 2 on the side. Okay, there's... Okay, a little rough there. Let's put a seed 2 over here. Okay, so there's 5 petals. I think it'd be a little wonky. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out these petals on this line that I drew. And again, top is right here, and this is where the petals go. So I'm going to use my scissors now. And I'm going to cut. I'm keeping my piece folded. I won't need to unfold this until... Well, actually, I won't need to unfold this at all. Not until it's like glued into the card. So I don't want to risk having to refold it. So I'm going to keep it folded. And I'm cutting the whole thing while it's folded flat. All the little sheets at the same time. One, going to trace it onto my next one, making sure where I know where up is, and I know that the petals have to go across, and I'm making sure that they're facing the same way, from the one I cut to the one I traced. Let's air tracing some petals. We'll trace it onto the second one here. Once I have all 3 pieces, I'm going to go ahead and grab my glue stick, and I'm going to glue all of these together into a stack. So one on top of the other, and I am going to keep them folded for this. So I'm going to take one, apply glue to the top. Oops. Okay. Apply glue to the top. Glue, 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 glue. I'm going to grab my next one and then line it up. It should be pretty close to the same size considering I traced it. It's okay, it's a little bit off. Okay, I'm going to apply glue to the top of this one now. I'm just gluing into the stack. Yeah. Okay. Gonna keep them glued into the stack. Going to find my piece of cardstock that I folded earlier. Open it up. Okay, and I'm going to glue this right where that fold line is. Where the left edge, my flower petals are going towards my top right corner. So let's get some glue on here. Just gluing one side first. Lining it up with the inside fold line of my card. And then going to go ahead and put some glue on the top here. And then all I have to do is fold my card closed. And when I open the card, I have a very nice flower. I can add a stem using a Sharpie or markers or colored pencils. And I can add any other thing, or maybe it's just a big flower floating in space. That could be nice too. Oh, if you wanted to make a flower ball, you need to create an additional stack of 3. And then glue that one in. Then you'd have a full flower. Okay. So I'm going to do that because I said I would show the flower ball for some classes that wanted to do it. Okay. So if you're doing the regular flower, which is pretty much the whole project, then you're done with the flower part for this portion, and then you can continue on if you wanted to know how to do the flower ball. Okay. Okay, so for the flower ball, I'm going to unglue this really quick because I still need this. Uh-oh. I think you should pause. Okay. Now, I'm gonna... You did a great job gluing. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you're making the flower ball. You basically need an additional stack of 3, which you can trace onto 3 more squares that you folded and then cut and then glued together. So this is exactly the same as this one here. I'm going to fold 2 more to act as fillers. I'm going to show you how to do those. Let's see here, 2 papers. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 fillers. So these all get folded the exact same way. Everything gets folded the same way we folded in the beginning. In half into a rectangle, open it up to taco shell, turn it, fold in half into a rectangle again. And then make it into a little tent, flatten it out. Fold in half into a triangle. Open up the triangle to make a little triangle tent. Press down in the center and then grab all of the corners so that they all meet up at the top. Okay, one more. Fold in half to a rectangle, open it up to taco shell, turn it, fold in half into a rectangle again. Open it up, make it into a tent, flatten the tent, fold in half into a triangle. And then open up the triangle to triangle tent. Press down in the center till the sides pop up, and once they do, gather all 4 corners at the top and flatten it out. Okay, so these are my filler pieces. So I have my 2 stacks of 3, but I need to know how to draw the petals because these ones are going to exist sort of in this middle area here. So the petals aren't going to line up if we just made an additional stack of 2. So I'm going to basically place these. Actually, you know, I can go ahead and glue the second stack of 3 in. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. a stack of 3 goes in like this. So we have our flower hemisphere. And then I'm going to basically slide this in. This one needs to sit directly in between these two. So I can even nestle this one in. Can I? I think I can. Oh, it can sit. There's kind of like a little pocket here that it can sit in. And I'm going to squeeze it as far down as I can go. I should see the little tiny corner of my square peeking out in between the two. It really is like right in the middle of the two. Oops. Okay. Let's go ahead and smush that back in there. Okay, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to trace the flower petals going across. I have these pull it out just a little bit. Of course, I only need to do this to 1, and then I can cut this, trace this onto the next one, and they should be about the same. Okay. Two. So because I've already traced these ones are ready to glue in. I'm going to go ahead and apply glue to both the tops of these. And then close my card. Okay. I open it up. Oh, a little bit stuck there. That's fine. Okay. Really nice flower ball. And I'm just using these 2 extra pieces that I made by, tracing the in-between to fit into these spaces here. They only fit one way. I'm going to nestle these in. This one right there. I'm just looking at the angles, right? So I have an angle going down here, an angle going down here. It matches this piece. Go ahead and slide that in. But if your red paper is red on both sides, then you'll probably even skip this step and it'll look fine. Okay. I'm gonna line up the petals. Okay, and I'm applying just a little bit of glue to keep these in place. So I'm going to go ahead and just applying a little bit of glue underneath here. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. bit of glue between them. These little filler petals aren't really, I guess, what we would consider structural. They are just to sort of nice up the center. I'm going to fold it closed. The glue dries to make sure everything can fold flat. And then we have flower ball. And that took 8 pieces. So 2 stacks of 3, then 2 fillers. You could make a whole hemisphere, or not hemisphere, you could make a whole sphere if you did 16, which could look really cool. A nice hanging flower ball. Okay, thank you for joining me today. Bye-bye.